CSU matchup is Sheep Week, so let's continue to talk about this. So Coach Barnett, we had him on the show last week. He was asked about this matchup. He was asked about the Nebraska game. He had some interesting comments I wanted you to give a take on. Take a listen here.
Electric, Mark. I've been here a million times, and I've never seen it quite like it was tonight. Everybody was ready for us, except us. When you look at the stats, it wasn't awful, but we didn't match the energy that was in this building, and Nebraska was ready for us. They had a good plan, and I'm afraid we're going to see this plan again. Just a tough day for the Buffs, and they've playing another environment or atmosphere like this, but they got to learn to play in this stuff. Do it. You can't play the game that way. You can't call plays. How many times were we in an empty backfield with no backs? It was one-dimensional most of the game because we couldn't protect, but the best way for us to protect was probably an empty. And, we couldn't protect our quarterback, and he was scrambling for his life from the very first play. I see depth starting to develop, and both the first two games, we made good adjustments at halftime and really held both opponents. Huge game in Fort Collins, and I don't know if our guys know how big a game this really is. And so it's a bigger game to them than it is to us traditionally. But this has got to be turned. We have to make this a game because this is a must-win for us.
Matt, your thoughts on his comments?
And look, I agree with Coach Barnett. Obviously, he's like a father to me. He was my coach for 5 years, and when he speaks, I'm fucking listening. But I can't say he's wrong. I will say that I have been to that building. I was there in 98. I was there in 2000. I was there in 02. I was there in 04. I was there in 08. I was there 2010 or 11, the last time they played a Big 12 game against each other. I was there in 18, and I was there the other night. And I agree, I've never seen it the way it was. That shit was nuts. And I mean, you can tell people how crazy it is, but then you have to go experience it. CSU is not going to be that. CSU is going to be a home game for CU if we travel the way that I think we're going to. But to the players, this is their Super Bowl again. They are going to put all their shillings in this fucking pail. It is going to be, let's go hit them late. Let's go hit them dirty. They think we're soft. Like every narrative that has come up over the last 2 years about the University of Colorado and Shador and everybody else, they're going to try and play those narratives to get an advantage mentally. And I would say that last year they had a mental advantage on us until Shador said enough with his shit. Now, I will say this, and I'm going to ask Bucky this when he comes on too here shortly.
Yep.
Everybody think about this real quick. That last year's football team at halftime of the North Dakota State game and the Nebraska game, I bet you they would have scored 40 points on us in both games. They've given up 6 points in the second half in both games combined. They gave up no points to Nebraska in the second half the other day. They only gave up 21, and Bentley had a fucking pick in his hands that allowed another touchdown. So I don't think they're really far away on defense. And I will say this, and this is all I would say to the offensive coaches and all I would say to the team, honestly. Everyone close your eyes and think about this real quick. The defense goes into Nebraska and gives up 21 points and holds them scoreless in the second half. How does Colorado not win that game with the people that we have on offense? That should be the only question asked. And then anything that doesn't solve that problem doesn't need to be discussed. All the emotion needs to be drained out of it. All the feelings need to be drained out of it. Everything. It needs to be straight motherfucking business all week because I guarantee you that's the way they're approaching it up in Fort Collins.
No, they don't.
So I think personally that it couldn't have come at a worse time to lose. You never want to lose your rival, but it also couldn't come at a better time because now we're going to really fucking see who wants to play, who wants to practice, who wants to compete, who wants to quit, who wants to bitch, who wants to jump off the fucking bandwagon.
So it is Rams week, and I just got to break the mood here. Matt, I just got to show this. See if I get sound.
Vickers is behind him.
And
I just had to show that. Matt.
All right, hold on. I'm going to text him right now and say, hey, motherfucker, when are you coming on the show? So hold on. Hold on. Hey, motherfucker, when are you coming on my show this week? Question mark. Keep in mind I have to write question mark. And we got to talk about shearing some sheep, period.
Oh man, Matt, you are hilarious. That's
It's just, that's like my best friend in the world, dog. And every year he comes out for at least one game. So last year he came up for the Nebraska game, right? And I see him after the game, and I'm like, Vic! And he's like, Chaz, and he comes 30 yards running and jumps on my head. And he's squeezing my head so hard, my sunglasses broke. I had a bloody nose, and I'm like, Vic, you're choking me. So, look, dog, you can call me a homer in the comments. I am a fucking homer. This is the only place I ever wanted to play my whole life. I committed when I was 14 years old, dog. Coach Neuheisel brought me and my parents in the night of 15 when I was a fucking sophomore in high school. They played Baylor when they wore the gold uniforms. Mm-hmm. And he goes, yeah, we really liked you in camp. Your film's outstanding. We're going to offer you. And I was like, I'm committed immediately. And he's like, you don't want to go on? You're a sophomore. And I was like, right now. And then right when he left and went to Washington, Tricky Ricky tried to give me money and all this other shit to go to Washington. I didn't even take a trip. I immediately committed to Barnett, never even met him. So, yeah, you're fucking right. I'm a homer, dog. And I am going to be in Canvas, and I'm either going to be in the stadium roaming around trying not to fist fight all the CSU farmers, or I'll be on the sideline. That's hopefully where I'm at so they can protect you from me. That's not the other way around. That was such a dick thing to say, by the way. The entire situation now will change when they win in Fort Collins, and then they host Baylor. If you can get a win there, you're 3-1, and you're moving into UCF, which is a massive fucking game on the road in Orlando. So, Look, bro, I'm not going to sit here and act like the world is fucking ending just because they lost a game to their rival. And again, they beat them 3 of 4 in this round. Mm-hmm. We scheduled them 4 times and beat them 3 of 4.
Yeah.
Last year, they hammered Matt Rule in Nebraska at Folsom. This year, Nebraska beat the shit out of us in Lincoln. Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? That's the way it is. So we've got to fucking handle it like goddamn professionals and men and buffaloes and not sheep. Yeah. And move forward. We can't operate like sheep and turn on each other and everybody just bah, 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 and panic. We need to run through the storm, not away from it. That's the beauty of a buffalo. A buffalo will look at a storm and run through it, knowing that going through the storm will get us through it quicker than running away from it. A sheep will run away from the storm. We ain't running away from shit. So again, all you guys that have a problem with me, I'll see you up at the Baylor game and I'll sign an autograph for you and your kid, and I'll take your wife on a date. Shut the fuck up.
Well, speaking of sheep, let's go ahead and preview the Colorado State game for these last 15 minutes. So Coach Jay Norvell was asked about the Colorado wide receivers, and he had some interesting comments, different than previously, in my opinion. Take a listen.
With Colorado's speed and playmaking ability, how do you plan on keeping the defense disciplined all the way to the ends and all like that?
Yeah, they're I think they might have faster receivers than Texas. I mean, those kids can all run. We got to do a good job of playing good, solid pass defense. They haven't really hurt people much with the running game, so that's what they want to do. And we have to do a good job of understanding how they try to attack coverages and how we can defend them. And so that's going to be a big part of the game is not giving them explosive.
Matt, go ahead and.
I'm not laughing at Jay Norvell, dog. The fucking dudes in the comments are hilarious. They even the guys that are talking shit. It's pretty fucking creative. They got some good shit, man. I got it. As a guy who loves talking shit and gets in trouble for it constantly, and is always talking shit, always. Like I had refs coming up to me in games like, "You can't say that 16." They'd be like, "Whatever, Bob. Shut the fuck up." Like, I really respect some of this shit. There's some good stuff over here. But Norvell's right. They need to play great pass defense, and they might be as good as the receivers at Texas. The problem is we can't run the football. So I'm not going to say we can't. Mm-hmm. We're not committed from a scheme perspective to running the ball. And I see a lot of people like, well, Shedeur changes the play. Okay. If he's changing the play, that needs to be nipped in the butt by the coaches if he's making the wrong call.
Right.
If he's making the right call and missing the play, that's something else. That's the right call. We just missed the play. I always say to my guys that I coach, if we're all wrong together, we're all right. And that's true. If all 11 of us are wrong in the same direction, I guess we're all right and the play just sucked. So you're not going to win every rep. A lot of this, again, a lot of this is fan narrative that it's only one guy's fault. It's a combination. Look, everybody has to take a bite of the shit sandwich here. Shador didn't play well. Travis didn't play well. Jimmy didn't play well. Seaton didn't play well. The rest of the offensive line got obliterated. There's going to be major changes on the O-line this week from a personnel perspective, by the way. I ain't telling you what it is. You can watch on Saturday, but there's guys being changed and there's competition in the room, and Load Holt is pissed because there's immense pressure on him now. They need to change. Yeah, I understand they're in 10 personnel all the time. I get it. They need to change that shit. Even if you're in 12 personnel, tight end, heavy scissor, and you're in the shotgun or the pistol, you can do so much with that tight end and the scissor player to block people or just get in the way. I don't need fucking Dan. Well, I do need Dan Grahams out there. I wish we had a Dan Graham, but I don't need Dan Graham in order to go block motherfuckers. By the way, that was a real fun gig trying to not fucking get dumped by Dan and Vic and Dre. Fuck. But that's another reason why people on the teams I played with were so tuned in all the time and good. Because if you didn't show up to practice ready, you got fucking baptized. Mm-hmm. So I like hearing that they're live in practice and that people are fucking hitting each other and popping pads in practice and there's attitude. And that's what we need. And that's not just like fake football bravado, guys. That's real. Yeah. We need that shit. We need it like we need fucking oxygen. If you heard Joel Klatt when he came on the show, Bailey, what did he say? I need to feel the assistant coaches.
Yeah, he needs to feel.
I need to feel the players on the field. Mm-hmm. Well, God damn it. Last week, I don't know if you felt anybody. This week, you're feeling fucking everything. And that pressure's even going to crack us or make diamonds, and that's a fucking fact.
Let me ask you. So there's a lot of people coming at Colorado saying these changes can't be made in a week. Can you kind of counter that and say why that's not true?
All right, so look, I would say that if you don't think the changes can be made in a week, you've never been in a meeting room. Okay? There's only so much you can do with personnel groupings and over, under, even, odd, bare, jam fronts. Like, there's only so much you can do with 12 personnel, 13 personnel, 21, 22. Watching the Niners last night, they are putting in something. They don't do the same thing over and over again.
Nope.
They put in some, like, they had Juszczyk lined up in the slot once. Well, he's a fullback. So that's 21 personnel, but your fullback's in the slot. Later in the game, they took him from the slot and motioned him back to I King, which is the front side of – and now all of a sudden you're taking your slot who's covered by a linebacker or a nickel, and you're motioning back over, and it forces communication through everyone. While they're communicating, we snap the ball, and all of a sudden everyone's reacting rather than proactive.
Yeah.
So you can confuse the defense, and you can put immense pressure on them to get their calls correct with motion and personnel formation discrepancies that are different. So that is my plight to the coaches.
Yeah.
That was my plight to Coach Prime. That's my plight to Coach Shermer, who I'll never talk to that guy, but whatever. Other than like if the coaches get mad at me when they hear this, because they will, somebody will show somebody and somebody will get pissed off. I'm directly talking to you. You shouldn't be there. If you're angry at me, you shouldn't be coaching at Colorado. Mm-hmm. Well, why don't we focus all of this negative energy into fixing the goddamn problem and stop with everyone's emotional bullshit and feelings and all? Like, you want Shador to play in the system? Give him a system that makes sense.
Yeah.
You want him to run the ball? Okay. You tell me how we're going to run the ball out of 10 personnel. Yes. I think it's fixable if you just change your personnel groupings and then go teach it. Mm-hmm. Go to 9-on-7 an individual drill and run power, counter, and trap 150 goddamn fucking times. And then go to 9-on-7 and run it 30 times straight at the scout defense and the ones at this point, the fucking ones, and see if it works. And I guarantee you it'll work, because the more reps you get, the better you do. The fact that they don't run trap even out of 10 personnel, is astounding to me, because trap is how you kill interior pass rushers.
Oh, yeah.
And the interior pass rushers are murdering the guards. Murder! And look, Steve Brown weren't very good either, but no one was good up front last week, let's be real. But again, you can help your guys. As a defensive lineman and an offensive lineman, it's nice to have a little bit of fucking help every now and then.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. I agree with you. Let's talk about them defensively real quick. Going into the Colorado State game, kind of just preview that. What are the keys for their defensive success this week? What do they got to do to shut down CSU?
What's with my camera, dog? Why do I look like – why does it keep doing that shit?
Because you're in the sun, I think.
In the sun? I'm in my fucking living room. All right, so keys. Change.
Yep.
Change.
Fuck yeah.
Change. 12 personnel. Give me a fullback on the field. Line up in fucking full house and fucking hammer the ball. Move the pocket with your athletic quarterback. I didn't say fast. I said athletic. I thought Dan Marino's pocket presence was incredible. He was extremely athletic in the pocket, slow as fuck. So move the pocket, sprint, boot, throwback, anything that's misdirection that we don't do. Can you imagine?
Wait, hold on. I asked you defensively. Because
what they're going to, just switch to offense, and then we'll do defense next.
Okay.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, sorry, I heard you wrong.
It's all good.
All of the things that we've talked about all week up to this point, it's only Tuesday, of course, but all that stuff they've got to implement. They have to. Yeah. And this, we can't do it because we didn't do it in spring or in fall camp is ridiculous. If that's the excuse, the kids can't handle it, well, then you can't coach it. The coaches can't coach it, well, then you're fired.
Yeah.
Fuck your feelings. You're telling me, so I'm asking you to do something and you're telling me you cannot do it, yet your job is to do it. You're fired.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but that's the way football works, dog. You can fucking call the HR department and CU's football department and see if they give a fuck. They don't. So defensively, I think that they've got to double Horton and they've got to heat up Nicolosi. And I don't think the crossing route shit will
out for them, but I'm not 100% sure.
The quarterback's out.
No, Horton, the receiver.
Oh, well, if he's out, they're really fucked. All right, but I will say this.
Confirm me on that.
Then shit, man. You're the one that said it. I will say this. If they prepare for crossing routes and the same thing they got last year from Norvell, they're going to get caught again. You can't. Watching last year's tape and thinking they're going to do the same thing is ridiculous in Colorado. So I'm just saying, I would expect Norvell. He's probable, so he'll play. I would expect Norvell to come out and try and change the way that they did things last year, but also do the same thing. If we couldn't cover a tight end last year, let's see if they can cover a tight end again. If they couldn't stop the run last year, which I don't know, look up the running numbers in that game. I don't think that they ran the ball all that great against us last year. I can't remember because the game was just so fucking crazy and it didn't end until 3 a.m. and shit. All the crossing routes and all that kind of shit. It seems that Livingston's got a hold on that. Again, the second half Colorado Buffalo defense this year has been outstanding. The first half Colorado Buffalo defense this year has been poo-poo. So if they can play that bad in the first halves and then they can play that good in the second halves, why can't we just fucking play that good the whole time? So that's going to be really the key is, can we put 4 quarters together on defense and then make adjustments that go and start the game fast and then adjust and get even better rather than start the game slow and be, oh my God, we're behind or we're slow and then adjust. That's going to get played out eventually. So
last year they outrushed CU 102-70. I mean, it was majorities. I mean, they had 397 passing yards to 348 for Colorado. So
so both teams were just air raiding it the whole fucking time.
Take that as you will, exactly. But I think it'll be an interesting game. Horton's going to play probable. So I
want him to play. We want your best players on the field. I know I despise CSU on a cellular level, but if you do not respect these people and walk in ready to play, they'll beat the shit out of you.
Hell yeah.
They will fuck you up. And they're not punks. There's a bunch of Colorado kids on that team that are pissed off CU didn't recruit them, because that's always the narrative. They deny it, but then they're like, yeah, CU didn't recruit me. It pissed me off. I went to CSU. Like, yeah, I know why. So look, bro, this game is personal for them because, again, they're not on the schedule next year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is the last opportunity to go whip that ass and shear a sheep, and we got to take advantage of it. And Colorado hasn't been to fucking Fort Collins in like, I don't know, since like 96 or some shit. So, like, I don't know what it's like to play up there. I never played there. So it's it'll be a unique experience regardless, and I'm excited about it because it's the next one, and it's another rivalry game. It's going to be really intense again. It won't be the same as Nebraska, but it'll be intense. And then, you know, we'll see what happens moving into the Big 12 schedule in Baylor. Do they have a bye week after CSU?
Believe so. Their buys are on October 5th and November 2nd, I want to say.
Yeah, so they bye after CSU, right?
After UCF.
They buy after UCF. Okay.
After UCF and then after Cincinnati.
All right. So they have a bye before Kansas State. So honestly, you want to be 4-1, worse 3-2 going into the Kansas State game at home. Because that's going to be a big one too, because that if you don't know shit about Colorado football, you wouldn't know that that's a huge rivalry, but it's a mad rivalry, and it's huge. And Kansas State recruits the fuck out of the state of Colorado, and they would like nothing more than to come here and get a dub. So that's that, I guess.
Yeah. Well, there you have it, man. Let's go ahead and wrap this show up. Great show.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
I'm trying to figure out how to work my computer. Joey B. Did Sonny Lubick recruit you to Colorado? Niwot kid. He did. He recruited the shit out of me. But I didn't want to play Colorado State. I wanted to be a Buff. So it was a very easy no, but it was a respectful no. And I remember him saying to me, well, if you go to CU, we're just going to have to beat your ass every year at the beginning of the year. And I was like, okay, coach, it's on. So like that, the amount of respect I have for Sonny Lubick and the way he did things up there is one of the reasons I have such a lack of respect for the way they do things now, because he was straight class and straight professional, and he developed NFL players, and his teams were tough as fuck. And if you didn't show up ready, then Morgan and Eric Piers or Clint Oldenburg or Cecil Sapp or McDougal or David Anderson or Holland or, you know, fucking Bradley Van Pelt's bitch ass would embarrass you. So, you know, that's what this game is, bro. They're going to try and go embarrass Colorado, and they hate us because they ain't us, but they damn sure hate us. So remember that hate is a more powerful emotion than love.
Yep.
Love makes you sit back and be like, oh, this is awesome. Hate motivates me to fuck someone up. And that, I'm telling you, that is more motivating in a lot of cases than the whole, I love these guys. Fuck these motherfuckers. It's sheep week.
Yeah, exactly.